So I'm a teacher. Even before I began my 18-year teaching high school career, I was a teacher. I've loved teaching ever since I was in high school, a tutor myself. It took me almost a decade after college before I actually found my way to my life's passion in the form of a career and began teaching math at a high school in my hometown, a public high school. And I loved the job. I felt so lucky to have it. I worked with all the kids and I loved seeing the light bulb go off over their head when they would get a new concept and really helping students overcome a fear of mathematics and get to a point where they said, I really like this, and I enjoy this, and I know I can be good at this. And I felt very lucky about that. I think I've also helped a lot of new teachers get into the profession. In fact, I know that I've mentored at least 7 teachers and given them a spark and a desire to continue in the profession. So I'm a teacher. At my heart, that's my core. But recently, the landscape in education is changing. There are so many pressures to do education in a different way in the U.S., and there are a lot of voices clamoring for that change, but there aren't many good solutions out there. People don't know what to do. They just know they want something different. And as a teacher, I got into this business not for the money or for the glamour, but rather to make an impact, to have a change in the way things work for students to succeed. And so I'm always trying new things, and I know a lot of my peers are the same way. So when people clamor for change, we're listening and we're trying to implement change, but we just don't know how to do it. In my case, I have 148 students on my load right now. That means very large classes. I have 5 classes I teach of almost 30 each class. And within that class, we've gotten a reduced number of alternative courses, such that within my class I have a greater number of different needs in the same classroom. The expectations are now that we meet the needs of every student at their own level, which means I'm addressing the needs of more students to a greater level of specificity across a wider range with a greater number of students throughout the day and less time to do it. It's really quite challenging, and I don't really know how to do it. I've struggled with that. In the last 5 or so years, we've had some challenges in our district with a new administration that was pushing through some change that was poorly thought out, honestly, and didn't involve the collaboration of the teachers and the people on the ground. And needless to say, it didn't work out very well. Those administrators have now moved on. But I'm left with trying to implement change and find new ways to do it. So I was looking for a better way to do professional development. And I came across the MIST program, California State University, Monterey Bay, Masters in Instructional Science and Technology. And I thought this would be a good way to do it. Because as a teacher, I've always grappled with homework. I know that in math, homework is important, and yet, as I discovered in this program, practice is only effective if, in fact, you have the opportunity for feedback, authentic, specific feedback. And I wasn't doing that with homework. I was receiving stacks of papers, and it would take me a week, 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks to get it back to the students, so it was out of their hands, and I wasn't even able to give anything more than a check mark on it. So that wasn't working. And I had success with a lot of students, but not all the students. There were some students who couldn't get what they needed out of my lessons in class, and I wasn't available to meet with them as much as they needed to get the individualized support. So I couldn't reach the students that I really wanted to reach with the tools I had in front of me, and I thought the MIST program might do that. So what exactly is the MIST program? Well, instructional design is the core of it, and what I like about this program is the way they treat technology. It's not just the computers, although yes, certainly using software and hardware packages together in a way that provides new tools is part of it, but they see technology as something more. They describe technology as the way in which humankind can take control of the world around them, can manipulate and control the world around them. That's a unique idea, I think, and the traditional sense of technology, computers and machines and automation does that to some extent, but it can also be thought of as a way to control the classroom, not by policies per se, but by building such an engaging environment that you're drawing in students from different needs and different ways of thinking and different perspectives, such that they all have an opportunity to succeed and stay focused. So I like that element of technology. I've also discovered some really great tools in this program. Beyond the important foundations of learning theories and academic training that comes through this, teaching us the fundamentals of how you craft instructional design, I've been very successful and happy about the way I've been able to implement some technologies. In my capstone right now, I'm deep in the midst of it, and what I'm doing is recrafting my geometry curriculum for high school students. And it's along three fronts. The first front is I've taken all of my homework, instead of them submitting the practice they do to me in paper, they have to submit it online. To do that, I had to build a Moodle, a learning management system, an LMS, around my whole course. And so my whole course is now built into this system. So students submit their homework online. And why do I do that? I do that so they can get the immediate prompt feedback with authentic feedback. In other words, when they submit their homework, it triggers something that allows them to see my key. And my key is very carefully worked out, showing exactly what the problems are supposed to be and how they're supposed to be worked out with notations for things that might catch them. But they can't see that until they submit it themselves. And what this does is it allows the students who are on time and doing their work, and they're home at night trying to do it right now, and they run into three questions they don't understand, they can submit their work as it is, and if they genuinely try it, they'll get the full credit, but then it opens up the key and they can see it. On the flip side of the coin, I have students who won't do the homework for several days, and then they try to scramble and pull it together at the last minute, and historically when I post the keys for the students, some of those students will copy it, and that just doesn't help them because they don't learn anything. So now they can't see the key until they submit it. Secondly, sometimes the instruction is insufficient, right? The building of the instructional system is great in class for maybe 80% of the students. But what about those other 20 who need to see it a second time or need more time with it? I don't have that time available in my classroom. So what I've done is I've taken a lot of my lessons and I've automated them or built them into an asynchronous environment on this system so that students can go back and access them a second time, or a third time, or a fourth time, and look at them at their pace and re-access the instructional content asynchronously whenever they want through this Moodle system. Lastly, I'm providing more specific feedback as to what they know, so that, for instance, when they finish the homework and they've had a chance to look over the lessons and they recognize that they think they understand the content because I've given them explicit learning objectives about what they're learning, I then build in quizzes, online automated quizzes that they can take that are formative in design, that tell them whether they understand the content or not. And when they get the results back and they see immediate results, right? They see immediately that they got 73% of the material right. They have an option to retake this because although as a teacher I can only produce a limited number of tests and it takes me a week to grade the test before I can provide the feedback, and thus it has to become somewhat summative as well as formative because it takes so much time, it has to be recorded somewhere. This formative online thing can be just for the purposes of learning because I've designed these things in my Moodle system such that there are variables that are generated every version of the test such that the tests become different. It's a new version of the test, and I'm creating a bank of 6 or 8 or 10 questions for each skill and pulling only one question from that skill. Therefore, when students take the test a second time online, it's a different experience. Same content, same expectations of understanding, but it's a new environment for them. So they can take this online practice quiz again and again and again and use it both as a learning tool as well as a formative assessment tool. That's working really well. So these are things I'm doing as part of my capstone. I'm about to start in about 2 weeks. I'll start my actual implementation of a unit that has this whole thing crafted together with a complete asynchronous instructional module. And I'll see how they do. Looking forward to it. On the whole, this program has been a whirlwind. It's very fast-paced. It requires a lot of time commitment. Get your family committed to it. Because it takes the village, as they say. Everybody has to be involved in the commitment to getting it done. I've so enjoyed working with my peers. The people in my cohort are fantastic, and I've learned a ton from them. The course content has covered some really interesting things. Some was rehash of my teaching credential program, but the technology was good, and I appreciated the support that I got, especially from a number of our instructors. So here I am wrapping it up. I've got just about 2 months left in my program, and I'm really glad I've joined the MIST program. I'm looking forward to what it will give me going forward, both as a teacher and any other roles that I might find myself moving into. So thank you to Cal State University Monterey Bay MIST program. I'm looking forward to stepping out as an instructional designer.